Right, hello everybody, welcome to the Adam Clery Football Channel, and today, if you don't mind, we are going to give Liam Rosenior his flowers. If that's an expression you're familiar with. Now, there was a lot of sneering at him getting the job, there was a lot of memes, but I think he has already made a lot of very smart and very effective changes to the way Chelsea play. So we're going to look at some of them right now, and also, he might have turned Enzo Fernandez into Zidane, which is cool. And before we start, a very quick reminder, as ever, that we are brought to you in partnership with our data pals at FOTMob. You're going to see a lot of their stuff floating around in the video. And if you would like all of that in your pocket, like I have, plus like fixtures, results, all the really good stuff, you can download the app from the link in the description below. We love them, and if you don't already, then you will. So first up, this is something we showed you in the preview piece we did about how he likes to play football. This is his Strasbourg team attempting to bait the opposition into pressing them so that they can play through the gaps. Now normally, just having the ball at the back is a pretty good way to do this because that is where opposition teams do want to take it off you. But this absolutely unhinged use of the goalkeeper was designed to A, make it easier to play through because you've got an extra man, but B, because it's leaving the goal literally open, make it just too tempting for a lot of teams not to try and press you in this area, even if that's not what they've been instructed to do. Now don't get me wrong, I did not think Chelsea were going to attempt to do something exactly like this because Robert Sanchez, who, let's be fair here, is having a much better season than most people give him credit for, is still not that guy. Don't get me wrong, I think he can pass the ball very effectively, yes, but if you stick him all the way out here and tell him to start inviting pressure onto himself, he is going to have a very, very bad time. And likewise, while I think Chelsea do have a lot of competent options in possession at centre-back, they haven't got anybody who's really going to flourish in this sort of situation at Premier League level. But just regardless of who exactly is doing what, you look at these moments and the principles are still invite the press and then play through it. And that is just Liam Rosenior's footballing philosophy. So the challenge for him at Chelsea was, how do you do this bit here without necessarily having to do this bit here? And if we watch the goal, one of them, they scored against Leeds United, you will see that he has in fact found that solution. So fundamentally, whether it is central or it is wide, right, what Chelsea are looking to do in possession is to be as patient and as deep as they can be to try and encourage as many opposition players forward as they can and effectively separate the line of pressure as far as you can from the line of defence. And it's in the space you make by doing that, the players will drop off and they'll try to attack. And you saw that at Strasbourg, right? It does not matter how long you have to knock it around at the back to bait this gap, they will be patient with it. But when it does open up, then directly and collectively, you try and get it forward to make a chance as quickly as you can. And you can see that's what they do here. Like, there are low percentage passes Andre Santos can play from this position. He could go over the top to try and get Estevao into the channel, but that's not going to be towards goal. That's going to be down a blind alley. So naturally, you'd expect a player in this situation to just turn around and go back to the defence. But he doesn't do that, does he? Instead, he plays what is maybe, theoretically, the stupidest pass available to him and gives it to Enzo Fernandez, who has 4 players in very close proximity. And on the face of it, that looks really daft to me. Why make the one pass open to you that actually increases your chances, quite significantly I'd say, of losing the ball when you don't have to do that? Well, because if I can say that's a stupid idea, then so can all 4 of these Leeds players here. And as soon as it goes into Fernandez, They forget about what is around them, what's behind them, and they try to jump him instead. But because that is part of the plan, that is literally what Rosenior is coaching them to do, Fernandez isn't actually in any danger at all. He immediately gets the ball out of this area and goes back to the defender, making the Leeds press think that they got Chelsea on the back foot and they all spring forwards. But if, at the moment that ball gets to Chalobah, right, we just stop it there, all 5 of the Leeds players in this press are facing forward. They're not scanning around, they're going after the ball, and they've lost track of what is around them and behind them. And as a result of being baited in like this, they're now all a good few yards further forward and away from the defence than they were at the very start of this. And oh boy, would you look at that, Cole Palmer, one of the players they were looking to have occupying this space, is now occupying this space. So you compare that with what he was doing at Strasbourg, and what have you got? You've got patience with the ball in your own build-up. Check. You've got creating a tantalising situation that the opposition cannot resist pressing. Check. And you've got creating space through that you can then get the ball into and attack the goal directly. Check. Peta, check. It goes to Andre Santos, he finds Cole Palmer, and all of a sudden, even though Leeds have a massive numerical advantage here, they are panicking, and Chelsea can get João Pedro into the space behind the defence. So from this moment here to this moment here, you've got 3 passes, and it's in the back of the net. And this is a little bit later on in the same game, right? This time Chelsea gets Sanchez involved, which is obviously very enticing for Leeds. Cole Palmer drops all the way into his own half, also very enticing. But what is interesting about how they get out here is it's not really any good to give the ball to someone in a good position if they can't get turned with it. Like, go back to the goal we just showed you, right? Yes, Cole Palmer is facing the wrong way when he shows for this ball, but there's enough time and enough space that he can take a touch and he can get turned, which is fine. However, this time, he cannot. So instead, when it comes to him, it's an immediate layoff to the defender who can access that space between the lines that they're looking for. And if you want to see, right, what good coaching looks like in real life, how you bring an idea to a group of players, you get them all on board with it, and you get them to use it effectively, just watch how they end up accessing that space. Just like with Palmer, Pedro is in the right area, but he can't get turned either. But he shows for the ball anyway, and again, just like Palmer, it's an immediate one-touch drop-off to Estevao, who couldn't have received the ball initially, but now that he's got it, is in a position to play forward. Which he does immediately, puts the shits up Joe Rodon by just running at him straight away. And again, Leeds have a numerical advantage, and yes, nothing actually comes of it this time. But once again, from this situation back here to this just shot or whatever the hell it was later on, you've only got like 4 passes. Now, both of those are quite specific examples. They both involve Cole Palmer being used to access a central space. But what makes this idea so effective is how flexible it can be. The only goal, as we said, is to split the opposition line of pressure from the opposition defensive line. And all it really requires is for any player in this build-up here, they'll tend to have 2 centre-backs, sometimes split by the goalkeeper, and then this 4 here, and it could be any sort of combination. Sometimes Enzo Fernandez is there, sometimes he's there, he swaps with Cucurella and stuff like that. But any player from this block here with the ball can find any player from this block here pushing up against the defence once they drop into that space. And because Liam Rosenior has moved Enzo Fernandez out to the left, who we're going to get to in a little bit, by the way, sometimes he will be in this group here, out there, looking to find the pass into the forwards, but other times he'll be here, looking to receive it, looking to drop into the middle to get into this space that he's very good in, and he can swap with Cucurella very easily. And these two are by far the most notable rotation that they keep doing, but they have got the freedom to make the pass from here into here pretty much however they see fit, however they're able to do it. Once they've created that gap between the press and the defensive line, it doesn't matter who makes the pass, it doesn't matter who receives it, so long as that's what they're trying to do. Like these examples are all from the Wolves game. And you can see time and again, it's Palmer, it's Neto, it's João Pedro. They're all free to get into that space, and they'll either knock it on to play forward or turn themselves and attack as quickly as they can. And you know what it is? I personally really like this as a pattern of play that Liam Rosenior has brought into Chelsea, because it immediately fixes one of the biggest problems you used to constantly hear about Enzo Maresca's style of play. And it does that without creating an even bigger problem as a consequence. Under the Italian, right, Chelsea would play with intricacy and occasionally a little bit of urgency at the back. But by the time they got it into the final third, they would occasionally get a bit ponderous, a bit risk-averse with it, I think. And you'd see this all the time, like teams would gum them up through the middle of the pitch and they'd go around the houses, sort of gently looking for a way in. But here, they are ponderous and they are slow at the back, but deliberately so. They're trying to work the space required to then be quick and then be intricate in the areas where that actually really matters. Just all of that occasionally quite tedious work Chelsea would have to do breaking down the opposition in their third, they're now pretty much doing in their own third. And the key to this, I would say, has been the repositioning of Enzo Fernandez, and by extension, the opportunities that has created for Andre Santos. Like, I'm not saying Santos is a better player than Fernandez, but he is, maybe, better for this exact style of football. He keeps things so simple. He never takes too many touches, and he's got a real knack for these first-time forward passes that allow Chelsea to get into the spaces that they've opened up. He's also, as well, just like this great combination of robustness and like technical ability, which means when you are baiting in these presses, he's secure, he can take the contact, and then he can play in these tight spaces. Now don't get me wrong, his stats are not going to blow your head off, but when you look at them and you sort of like scrutinize the stuff that really matters, per 90 minutes, he's in the top 5% or the bottom 5%, don't know how you'd word that, for getting dispossessed. I think his raw number is that literally he's only had his pocket picked twice all season, which makes him like one of the most secure on the ball midfielders in the Premier League. The duels he wins, that's really high, like top 13% or something, and tackles and interceptions are at the very top end as well. And I just would like to say again, I think Enzo Fernandez is a remarkable footballer, but this exact specific job at the base of Liam Rosenior's midfield requires a player with no ego, with incredible work rate, with the ability to physically dominate a game. And Santos has come in and looked like he's been playing it for forever. And as we all know, turfing out one of your star players to accommodate someone who was purely there for the system almost never ends well, but I think Rosenior deserves a lot of credit as well for coming up with this new role that keeps Fernandez in the team. He started like 3 games out there now, and it worked really well for him because he's basically told to start wide and then just rove around looking for the space. And if we just look at his total heat and pass map from that Leeds United game, then you'll see that's way more touchline work than you would ever normally see from Enzo Fernandez. But at the same time, it's still about as much play in the centre of the pitch as you would hope to see from him. Like, a player of his skill set needs to be getting used in this really important area right outside the box or in either of these 2 half spaces if that's where he's comfortable. And despite starting on the left, you can see he is there a lot. And if we just filter this down to not all of his passes, but to the chances he created, he had like 4 just in the first half, which is really, really good. And these ones in particular are pretty much just from the number 10 position. You would not expect those to be coming from the guy who started out on the left wing. And in fact, if we go back to that goal earlier where they find Cole Palmer between the lines, just look at what Andre Santos's other passing option was here. Enzo drifting in off the wing into that exact same space. And when you combine that sort of positional freedom to come in off the left with the fact that Cole Palmer starts central but really wants to move out to about here, and the fact that Marc Cucurella has both the engine and the mindset and that dog in him to give you all this width down that side, and you've got something that works really, really effectively. Like, Fernandez does not get a key pass for this, but he might as well, the way he makes the space for Cucurella and then manages to feed him the ball. Like, this is just from top to bottom a really, really good use of him. Don't get me wrong, I do think the teams may start to target this, like when Chelsea really have to defend a bit and he drops in, we're going to see how keen his defensive instincts are when he's out on this side. I think that could be an issue for the future, but right now, it's great. So yes, overall, I think Liam Rosenior's done a lot of good stuff since he's come in at Chelsea. And I know some people haven't been blown away yet. I saw him get a little bit of stick for that Arsenal game. But the reality is, Maresca is a top-level manager, and his results prior to the change were sporadic. They were sketchy. They were not good. And if nothing else, Liam Rosenior is putting together a really good run of results. And when you actually watch them play, you can see why they appear to be improving. He's taken what the previous manager has done and he's put his own stamp on it. And I think genuinely, they look really, really good. In the meantime, you get me across all the social medias at Adam Clery, C-L-E-R-Y, where if you've heard the word running and thought, oh boy, I hope he occasionally posts some pictures of his knees, you will not be disappointed. And if you haven't already subscribed to ACFC, you can do that at the button down below. That makes me happy as well. In the meantime, though, that's it. We'll be back soon with more content about football, which you like. I should start writing these outros out, I think. I'm getting weirder. Goodbye.